Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're gearing up for the Michigan Property and Casualty exam, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and really build up your confidence for test day. So let's just dive right in. Sound familiar? You've got piles of notes, your brain feels totally full, and that exam date is just looming. It is so easy to feel completely overwhelmed. And you know that feeling, right? That little bit of panic when you hit a question and your mind just goes blank? Yeah, we're going to deal with that right now. Now, let me be super clear. This is not a replacement for actually studying. Think of this as your secret weapon. It's a logic system to fall back on when you're stuck, between two answers, and you just need a smart way to guess. You don't have to know everything perfectly. You just have to know how to think, like the test. Okay, first, let's get inside the heads of the people who actually wrote this exam. It's not designed to trick you with some weird, obscure stuff. It's actually built on really predictable patterns that reflect Michigan's pro-consumer insurance laws. And once you see those patterns, the right answers just start to jump out at you. And that brings us to our first, and honestly, our most important rule. When you're in doubt, just pick the answer that's most friendly to the consumer. Michigan law is all about protecting the insured. So if you see an answer that gives someone time or gives them notice or lets them appeal, well, that's a huge clue. An insurer can't just cancel a policy on the spot, right? That's not good for the consumer. But 30 days written notice? Now that sounds fair. This leads right into our next pattern. Michigan law loves a paper trail. Seriously, it's all about process and documentation. So if you're looking at 4 choices and only one of them mentions something specific like written notice or a signed form, that is very likely your answer. The whole system is designed to create a clear, documented process. All right, I call this the boring is better rule. The right answers on this test are almost never going to be dramatic. They won't use words like always, never, or immediately. Instead, they're going to sound, well, a little dry, a little administrative, kind of boring, honestly. If an answer sounds really harsh or emotional, it's probably wrong. The correct answer is usually the calm, procedural one. So, who's in charge here? When you see a question about who has the final say for approvals, enforcement, anything like that, there is a very clear pecking order. The director of the Department of Insurance and Financial Services is at the very top. So if the director is an option on a question about ultimate authority, you can be pretty darn sure that's the right answer. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. While we're trying to avoid just memorizing tons of stuff, there are a few key numbers that show up so often that they are absolutely worth your time. Knowing these can score you some easy points. Okay, you ready? We're about to do a little quick fire rounds. These are the numbers that appear again and again and again. You'll be so glad you locked these into your brain. 24. This is your magic number for continuing education. You need 24 hours of CE every 2 years to keep your license. It's as simple as that, 24. And of those 24 hours, 3 of them absolutely must be in ethics. The state takes ethics very, very seriously, and you'll see that on the test. So remember, 24 total and 3 in ethics. $50,000. This is the big one when it comes to penalties. It's the maximum total fine for any license discipline violations. So if you see a big penalty question, 50 grand is the ceiling. $1 million. Yeah, a million. This number is your go-to for anything related to Michigan's unique auto insurance system. It is the required coverage amount for property protection insurance, or PPI. It's a huge number, which makes it a really easy clue to spot on auto questions. Okay, stop what you're doing. This is the money slide right here. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this right now. Seriously, this table is your ultimate last-minute cram sheet. It's got all the key numbers we just covered and a few extras. If a question asks about a number and one of these is an option, it is a very, very safe bet. So now we know the patterns and we know the magic numbers. How do we put it all together when you're actually in the exam and that clock is ticking down? Let's walk through a super practical 4-step plan for when you get stuck. Here it is, your game plan. Step 1. Eliminate. Just get rid of the answers that are obviously wrong, the ones with extreme words like always or never. You can almost always get it down to 2 choices really fast. Step 2, apply those logic rules we just talked about. Is it consumer friendly? Is there paperwork? Is it the boring option? Step 3 is our tiebreaker, which is next. And maybe the most important, step 4, if you're still stuck, just flag the question and move on. Don't let one hard question wreck your whole test. And this is your ultimate tiebreaker. If you're down to two really good-looking options, just ask yourself this question. The law isn't trying to bankrupt insurance companies. It's just trying to make the system fair. The right answer is almost always the balanced one, the one that protects the consumer but is still reasonable for the insurer. It's going to be the middle ground, not the extreme. So let's bring this all home. The goal here really is to shift your entire mindset. Stop trying to frantically memorize every single little detail and start looking for the patterns underneath it all. The exam is way more predictable than you think. And this is probably the most important thing to remember. Just breathe. You don't need 100%. You don't have to get a perfect student. You just need to get a passing score. Use these strategies, trust your gut, and keep your cool. That's the real secret. You've got the tools now. You see the logic. This test isn't some big, scary monster. It's a puzzle, and it has rules. You can absolutely do this. So the only question left is, are you ready to go in there and spot the patterns?